Okay, so let us first of all introduce yourselves. So, Coral and Martin, it is. Coral, could you just say something about how long you've been on a boat? Uh,
We moved on to the Old Soak in April, so we've been living full time, first time on a boat since April 2022.
okay. And Martin, had you been on a boat before? Is this your?
No, well, my dad had a boat when I was a kid, so
Okay.
that's
Okay.
about it.
So, well, this is interesting because in your first year you experienced one of the worst floods in the history of Henley on Thames. So, first of all, and either of you to answer, one at a time, please. You can just say, Martin, how was the flood for you?
Well, it wasn't. It was. I had to go and buy waders. I nearly lost my car in the flood because I didn't think it was going to come up so high, but we managed to get that out in the dark, in the rain. The night before, the day after would have been a write-off,
It would have died.
but we would have died. And then next day we went and bought waders, and by the time we came back, we needed the waders to get back on the boat.
Right, okay, good timing then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you, Coral? How was the flood for you?
I pretty much like the whole year, we seem to have been super lucky with timings because we really haven't paid attention to the environment as much as we should have done. And I think that's the biggest lesson that we've learned is if you can do something today, do it today, because
Right.
tomorrow everything will have changed. So we really thought we were going to lose Martin's car because we left it a day. Well, it wasn't even a day, it was half a
Yeah.
day. And we've learned a lot about that. The biggest pain in the ass for me was definitely the waders. Getting all dressed up, then having to put waders over everything, then carry a bag with normal shoes to get off the boat, to walk up there, change into normal shoes because we were going to go shopping. Something that should have taken 40 minutes was going to take 2 hours, 40 minutes. So it was a big deal.
Similar for you, Martin? Being
Yeah,
out of
similar.
waders?
Yeah, it's nicer just to walk off the boat now,
Yes.
Yeah.
as opposed to thinking about, right, I've got to do that. And because we got the dog, so 11 o'clock at night, up to your waist in water and carrying a dog is a whole different story in the dark.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Where did you take George?
well, just to dry land.
Did you
Wherever
find
I
any
could
dry
find,
land?
yeah, it's just a little bit up by the car park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the car park for the museum, but the car park by the golf course and that, because it was the only bit of land that was
It was dry.
dry. Yeah.
Okay. Were there either of you any other really challenging aspects? Waders, taking the dog for a walk, saving the car, any other really
You want more?
challenging
Yeah.
apart from like, yeah, if you can.
I
I
don't think there was much more.
No, I think it was just
I mean, the tying of the boat and untying the ropes, obviously keeping an eye on the boat every day, making sure it was okay. We did go away for
one night.
for one night when the boat was up here, and then the next when we came back, we were halfway to river when we got back, and then today we're actually back to normal virtually, aren't we?
Yeah,
With
I
the-
think it's
with the weight.
that constantly having to think ahead, because probably we would have had the opportunity of staying for a couple of nights in Southampton when we went down for dinner with friends,
Right.
but because of what was happening here, we didn't feel that it was appropriate
Yeah.
to have. Although you guys, obviously, everybody in the community would have looked out for the boat for us,
Yeah.
but you were looking out for your own boat.
As
So
well.
one night was kind of enough, and we wanted to get back and make sure everything was fine. So I think it was just that constant, what's going to happen next? Thankfully, as you've said, the level came down so quickly, which was brilliant. But we didn't know that from day to day, and so
We
it's
never
that
experienced it.
constant worry of what the heck is going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
We've seen, I don't know if you're going to take a picture of one of the heavy duty wooden benches that came off of Mill Meadows, which is now
Stuck in the
stuck
trees
in the
in the middle of
trees
the
across
river.
from us. You know, that kind of heavy sort of wooden structure that's going to come down, if that had hit us in the middle of the night, would have terrified us. We'd have thought we'd come untied and hit a weir or something. So I think it's just that constant worry of what's going to happen next. You can't really relax.
Right. Okay. You're going to be 24-hour vigilance. Really.
Yeah, on guard all the time.
Okay. And what was the most dangerous moment for you, Martin?
Why the water was high?
Yeah.
I think it was getting on and off the boat. Really, we had to extend the gangplank to make it more shallow, because it was like, sort of 35 degrees as opposed to 45 degrees. But it was but by doing that, it made it a bit safer. But it's still, certainly when the frost came as well, you like sliding down the gangplank. And then I didn't want to fall in the water.
No.
I didn't want to fill the waders up, because I don't think I would have been able to get out.
It would have been an experience, wouldn't it? It'd be sort of bloated with water inside your waders. That wouldn't have been very pleasant. And what was the most dangerous moment for you, Coral?
I think that was the same. My balance is not brilliant. So I always want to hold on to the boat for as long as I can as I'm stepping off. And because, as you say, the gangplank was at such an angle, I mean, to begin with, I went down on my backside, because that was the only way that I really felt safe, that I was going to be okay. And then when you realise that you have to put your foot down, and actually you can't put your foot down until you're hip height in water, that was pretty scary. And I think the other thing was, you forget that the Thames is running on both sides of the boat, so the flow as you stand at the end of the gangplank is pushing you. Absolutely pushing you. And then when you come back the other way and you turn into the stream, it's hanging on and making sure, okay, I've got 2 feet on the ground, because that was really quite scary. And it was 8 knots at one point. So you really had to pay attention.
So coming this way, you're absolutely worn out. And coming back to the boat.
Yeah, did you say the current on the towpath was 8 knots?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What about the funniest moment? Did you have any funny moments? What made you laugh?
Probably getting dressed in waders.
There was not a sexy thing, to be fair. It's not.
When I think it was the next day, there is a photo of Coral stood up to her hips in water where the car would have been. I thought it was quite hilarious. Thinking, I'm glad we got the car out, because that would have been written off.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, indeed.
And it's a Mercedes, isn't it?
Mercedes,
it's quite a nice
220.
Car, that. Would have been ashamed to lose that to old Father Thames.
It would have been a shame.
Great. What about anything weird? Did you see anything weird?
The turnips.
Oh, the turnips.
You've got to tell them about the turnips.
Today I was
Tell us about the turnips.
Well, now the boat's gone back into the Thames, and we're at the right level again. I was clearing out, because it's amazing the amount of branches and crud that collects around the front of the boat, in between the ropes, isn't it? And this morning I was clearing it out, and I fished out 6 turnips, 1 very large turnip, and 5 small turnips. And I was
like a family of turnips.
And I was and I thought, why has that happened? But and I did notice the other day there was a turnip on the towpath, and I thought, somebody's dropped their turnip, and I didn't get another thought. But today somebody must have dropped a whole sack up the river, and they're all congregated around the front of the boat.
Yeah, so, that was fun.
But that's a little, a little on-site of
other people's lives.
Yeah, and then,
carrying turnips.
And then when you're in bed at night up that end of the boat, and you hear like that, and you're like, somebody's knocking on the boat, but it's not. It's probably the turnip.
It's a turnip.
Asking if they can come in.
Rattling around the front of the boat.
That was strange.
Yeah, that was strange.
What about you, Coral? Did you have any other really sort of weird little moments?
No, I think it was just generally, you had to just think of it as a joke, as a laugh. We did look absolutely ridiculous in what we were wearing every single day, and nobody cared. It's when we saw Jeff the other day, I think it was yesterday, and he was wearing his waders, and he's like, I've become quite attached to my waders. I don't want to give them up. I think we were all so proud of ourselves that actually we'd done all of these wonderful things and we'd survived it, that I totally understand that. But I think it was, there wasn't a lot of laughs. I can't deny.
No,
There
you're
was
just-
not a lot of laughs
every
because
day you
it was
wake
going to
up.
be a trudge every
Yeah.
day to go get the car, to do this, to do everything was just that much harder.
Yeah.
I think the relief is now.
Yeah.
If that's fabulous to actually see the Thames in the Thames instead of on the towpath.
Yeah.
That's fun.
What about, did you hear from any other boaters any horror stories of something that happened elsewhere?
No, the only unfortunate bit was friends of ours, Eileen and Clive. Eileen was going stare crazy because she can't get off the boat because she's in a wheelchair. So that for
was
them
tough.
was probably the worst
Well, and I think
scenario, I would have thought.
Further
And,
upstream.
further, not on our winter moorings, they couldn't get off their boats because it was
No.
actually a lot deeper up there. Hence why.
And they had no waders at that point.
No, they didn't.
And in fact, one of the guys went and stayed in a hotel for 4 or
Yeah.
5 nights because he found it difficult to get the dog on and off the boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people really had to change
Yeah.
everything that they did.
Yeah.
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 Great. And so anything else you'd like to say do you have a sense of the pride or triumph of survival? Do you feel you've been through a real challenge?
I certainly do. I think I had no idea that living on a boat would be so much hard work, that we'd have to learn so many new things, and then we end up with a flood that nobody's had for 10 years. It's like somebody is just laughing at us and making it as hard as possible. However, I now think the next year will be a piece of piss because we've done it all.
Yes. Although just to say that there is this freezing icy
Come
front.
on,
Oh, yeah, and the
no.
snow.
So
We've got the snow to go yet.
Get ready for sub-zero
Yeah, yeah.
temperatures. It went down to -7 last year.
Oh no.
Great. Anything else you want to say?
Don't think so.
That's
Don't
great.
think so.
Okay. Anything
Yeah.
else?
No, I
Ish?
think-
It's all about the flood, really.
It's all good. It's all good. The most important thing, being on the Old Soak, we were able to go and get wine and never run out.
Okay. That's
Cheers.
Hence the name.
This is the
Cheers.
real reason why you
Cheers
bought
to that.
waders, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and we were able to supply other boaters with wine too, which is, that was
see,
a
that's
nice
Good
feeling.
voting.
Yes, the flood wine supply.
The friendly
Oh,
boating.
Yeah, we were the dealers.
Okay, Carl, Martin, thanks very much.
Thank
you.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.